with Shepherd's Loft. Today, I want to walk us through how to take some PDFs, magazine articles, and convert the content to be able to use on the website. So that's kind of our little project today. And while we're setting that up, I want to get our live link and get those out there for everybody to be able to catch on. So let's see. Let me grab that link and post it for you. And so I'm grabbing that link. So, and then I'll tell you why it's so important for you to use your published content, especially with like in magazines. I know that's a traditional type of content, but it's really important because if you're doing that, it has uh, it has a lot of value in many different ways. So, all right, I'm grabbing this link, getting my shareable link, and I'm going to put that back into the Slack. So if you're part of our Slack community, then you can grab the link over there. If you're not part of our Slack community, then just place a comment in the channel below, and then I'll send you an invitation for that. So our right quick, our Slack channel is for local businesses that just want to get a little bit more insight into what's going on with their businesses at a local standpoint, and for their marketing. So there's some community that we're building there. So anyway, so we're going to get back onto the onto our project here, and let's go through. So why is it so important? So first of all, getting your content published into the magazines is important. I know that's traditional, but if your audience is still a type of audience that would pick up a magazine and look at that content, then that's a really good reason for you to publish that content. So it's direct marketing in that sense, and you're reaching your target audience. So that's one benefit. Then the second benefit is that you want to be able to reuse or recycle that content and put it onto your website and social media channels. So not only have you been published and reached part of your audience, but now you're able to, that kind of gives you some influence, right? And that establishes your leadership in the industry to be able to say that you've been published in a magazine. So now you can leverage the fact that you have been published, and you can leverage the content that was produced in that article in different ways online by using snippets of it in social media, and also producing a summary for your website, which is the point of our little tutorial today. But I always like to explain, why it's important first, and then now I'm going to talk to you about kind of how we're going to do this. So this is going to be a little bit more interesting. I mean, traditionally, if you have a printed copy of your magazine, you could put it on the scanner and scan it in. However, please understand there's a difference between a magazine produced or a an actual PDF that has fonts in it. And so, believe it or not, PDF documents can have fonts embedded in them, and then they're flattened. They're flattened down, but they're still digital products. And I say digital, I mean that they are printable files with fonts and characters. So they're trying to find the right terms. The opposite of that is the raster. When you scan it with your scanner, it's a raster file. It's more like a photograph versus a drawing, and that's what I was trying to get to. If it's a drawing PDF where photos are embedded, but the fonts are actual vector graphics, it is way smaller and it's actually more readable. So we actually have some vector produced graphic PDF files from the magazine company, and we are going to put them through the AI. So we're going to see if the AI can process the words in the article. Again, traditionally, I know I'm skipping back and forth. Traditionally, if you had the magazine printed and you put it on your skin and you scan it in, it's now a photograph. You can ask the AI if you put that into like a Google Word document, or you can get it transcribed. So you're transcribing the picture of the words back into actual type, into text that you can copy and paste and edit, right? So that's what we're trying to do today, except we are going to be using the vector method. We have vector PDFs that we are using, and we're going to put those into Gemini, into the AI, and see if we can generate the original content from the magazine article, at least the text part of it. We have the photos separately, so we're not concerned about those. We're really just trying to get the original article transcribed from that vector PDF, and then we want to be able to summarize that article to be able to add that content to the website, the portfolio projects. Now, later on last week, we did a design for our portfolio project web page. So we have a whole page, and in one section in there, we have the floor plans, and we're also going to do an embedded magazine article. So in addition to that, we can use the summary for our base description of that project. And so that's why we want to get a summary of these articles to be able to use that written content to help add to the description of our portfolio projects. So if you haven't watched that video, you can go back and you can look at the layout that we designed for those portfolio projects. But today, we are working on going across the board. We are going to take the different magazine articles that we have and transcribe those back into written content. So when we start to build the pages, so right now the design was more for, hey, this is what all of the pages, this is the layout for all the portfolio projects. So that's what that design step was for. This step is we are looking at the PDF and creating the content for each one of the portfolio projects. So we have lots of these to do, and so there'll be several examples for us to go through and look and see how that works. And so as we are preparing all our content, this is an important step. We are organizing our content before we actually start building the page. So last week it was design first. Our second step here is we're just going to make sure that we have our content organized and ready to go. And part of that is these PDF articles for the portfolio project. So now that you kind of understand a little bit of background and we've covered some of the terminology of what we're doing, we can dive in and get started. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. All righty. And so here's our Gemini here. And the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and grab one of the PDF articles. The first one here is Big Canoe. And we're going to drop that into the AI. Now we're going to write a very simple prompt. And this is like 101. I mean, the AI can do a whole lot more things, but we are just trying to do the simplest task today to save us some time and save our customers some time by getting these articles transcribed. So let's see here. So we want to simply transcribe the text in the PDF. So a super simple prompt request, and let's see if the simplified version will get that far. So here we go. Home feature transcription, page 1, page 2. So it's got it paginated for us. I didn't expect it to list it by page, but it did. So that's cool. So now I'm gonna flip back and forth here. We're gonna look back, and I'm just gonna do a preview of the article just to see what we kind of work with. So we can see here there's left, the kitchen may be streamlined. Okay, so that's the picture on the left, picture on the right. So we have to imagine that this is an actual article. So this would be the picture on the right over here. The home is in development. Okay, so we can see these little blocks of text here, right? And you can see how I can select these. This is how you can know that this is an actual vector graphic PDF. And if you have a professional tool like Adobe Illustrator, you could probably open this file up and maybe even, get these individual elements out. So I'm just looking to see what content is in the article. We have these two segments here and two paragraphs here and a third paragraph on the third page and another on a fourth little paragraph down here. So let's look and see what information we got. Um, so we have their kids may have flown the coop. Okay. So where is this content in relation to the article? Oh, it's right here. It's over top of the photo. All right. So I just clicked and dragged on that. So if you click, hold, and drag, you can see that's there. So the next paragraph will be the kitchen may be. So there it is, left, right. Okay. So this is all the copy that's straight out of that magazine article, which is cool. It's asking if we want, so it's got some specific bed details here, which is kind of cool. If I was going to put that on the project, I could. And then floor plan labels. Okay. That's a lot of information in there and a lot of extra stuff in there as well. So I don't know how useful that's going to be. Okay, so here's all the information from this particular article. So part of what we want to do is just organize this stuff together. So I've got my Google Drive over here, and I'm just going to add a new Word document, and I'm going to save all this information. So I'm just going to hit the copy button at the bottom and just paste that in there as is. So now I have everything just for reference in case I want it for some reason. I can do. All right. Now, what I'm really after is the summary. So I'm going to give myself some space at the top of the document, and then I'm going to ask the AI to summarize this content. I'm going to be a little specific. I'm going to say that it's for the website just to see if it gives me any specific, information or makes it more friendly. So oftentimes, and so bullets are really easy to use to read, like in brochures or rack cards traditionally in some print materials, but they also make things easier to read on a website. One of the things that makes content more digestible on the web is when you have bullet lists, short paragraphs. So if you haven't watched my video, go back and watch the readability video on our YouTube channel. And so by asking the AI, prompting it to write this summarized description for the website, it's put things in bullet format. Now, if we were doing a blog post, I would specifically say write it in blog format. But website, I didn't use the word format, but I did say write it for the website. So it did format things a little bit better for us. So this is really good. I'm going to take this summary here and make sure that I got to be careful when you copy this. A lot of times it'll put this extra information, like there's a question here at the bottom. So you got to be careful when you're just copying and pasting stuff from the AI. Again, this is kind of 101 stuff, and then also you can see there's a lot of this extra, like extra stars and things, and there's the question, right? So you can see that it put the question at the bottom of it. I don't want that. I don't want that to be, in there, those comments from the AI to be on my webpage. So you got to be careful and do a little bit of cleanup as you go. You can see all these hashtags. So the formatting is really kind of terrible. So I'm going to hit the undo and remove that, and we're going to try that again. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to specifically copy only the information that I want here. And then when I go into my Google Doc, I'm going to right click and say paste without formatting. And now I have something that's a lot cleaner and more usable. So I still got a whole bunch of spaces. Um, so perhaps there's another AI command that I could use, but I've stripped all the formatting out. So now I have to kind of rebuild it. And so that'll take a little bit of time to clean those up. So article summary. So this is very important. This is really what I'm after. So I can make that. I'll make that. I try to minimize the amount of formatting I do in my Word documents because I'm going to have to reformat it when I put it on the web page anyway. You don't want to copy the formatting from the AI or from a Word document or Google Workspace document or any kind of other document, which is referred to as a rich text document. You don't want to copy that into the actual website. And these funny little characters here, they look cool, but if your WordPress website is not set up to show those, it will prevent it from saving. So that's a little error that I ran into. So avoid copying pasting content that is pre-formatted. Okay, so here's my summary. It doesn't quite look the way it was over here. So key home details and design highlights. Those are kind of my subtopics. I'm going to need to know that when I go to build the web page. So I am going to highlight those and make them H2s just so that I have my content. And then this, I think, was all bullets. So I know that I can copy and paste and make those bullets when I put it on the web page. And the same thing with these other pieces. I could make them a bullet list, or I could do something different if I wanted. Now I have a very clean summary, and I could use this on the web page. I can copy and paste this as is. It has a bare minimum amount of rich text behind it. But even when I do that, I'm going to copy and paste it and to match the format. So that's one of the key things I always do. So so we've got this article done. Now we've just got a whole bunch more to do. So I'm going to just start trying to grind away on these as fast as I can. So I'll close that out. And let's see, let's get our next one over here. And just so that I'm not mixing these up, I'm going to start a new thread each time. If I want to come back and ask the AI to do something else with that particular article, I'll have a clean chat that I can come back to in my menu over on the left. I can go back to previous chats and I can go back and ask it to rewrite things in a different way or change the tone of voice and things like that. So I'm going to make a different chat for each article that we're going to transcribe. Now, to speed things up, we can say also, well, I'm just going to do it one step at a time because I want all of this information to be in here and being available. And as we saw before, there's, the AI likes to kind of give you feedback, and then it says, here's the transcription. If I use the copy button at the bottom of the page, I'm getting all that extra information, which I honestly don't want. So I'm going to be more selective this time, and I'm just going to highlight. Looks like it's still going. Page 6. So it's literally still transcribing the article, the PDF. Looks like a much larger PDF this time. So this is working very, very well. I mean, before I would have to stick this on a scanner, scan it in, and then try to get it transcribed or type it up. So the AI is making this process, even though I'm going in a snail's pace this morning, doing this process is way faster than what I've had to do in the past. So this was, make sure we got the right one. This is the Carrasco. All right, so I'm going to do a new Word document, new Google Doc. Again, I'm going to right click, paste without formatting. Okay, so now we have the full description. Now we just want our summary for the website. And it's you could I haven't figured this out yet, but if you could save your prompts for later, that would be pretty smart. I'm going to go back and just copy this prompt from the previous chat and then paste it in because I'm referring to this specific article in this chat. So, and so, here's another little thing. So what we'll do is we'll open up a text document and we'll start saving our um, our prompts. So we'll do a new document. Okay, I'm going to paste this. When I'm using I'm on the Mac using TextEdit, or if you're using Notepad works really great over the Write app or whatever it is. But if you change your format to plain text only, then you can make sure you can see there's no formatting whatsoever. There's no rich text formatting, and this is real important. I'm just going to zoom in on that just so I can see that. So that was our second question. Let's see, and then so I'm going to give myself some space, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy the first question, which was the transcribe. I know this is seems a little petty, but when you have to every time I have to type something, or you have to type something when you're doing something, you're spending more time. So find a way to be proficient. That's why we're using the AI. We want to be more proficient at what we're doing. So now we've asked it to summarize. I'm going to get down here. Again, I'm going to be careful not to copy the AI's comments. And so I'm being careful about what I'm copying. And then I'm also being careful about what I'm pasting without formatting. Okay, so I'm just going to just ignore George Cameron. So we didn't say summary this time. Okay. But we can add that to the end here just so that we know. And then we'll make that an H1. Let's see, how many subtopics do we have? The story and then key design features. So even though we've only done 2 of these, and already I see that the AI has not been consistent with the subtitles here, which might be a very nice thing. They also don't have any keywords. So, in terms of optimizing the page, we're missing some of the keywords. This looks like a pretty good title with, the log cabin in the North Georgia, but our subtopics seem to be different than the was on the previous article. So I'm going to close this one out, and then we're going to be ready to do the next one. Just going to hit the new chat button, close the menu, toggling over to my Finder. The chestnut here is the next one. Drag and drop. Alt tab to my text document, copy, and Alt tab back and paste and go. Then while that was chewing, I'm going to copy the next one, copy. So at this point, we're really just trying to see how fast we can get these done. So as that one pops in, I'm going to paste my next prompt. So as soon as it finishes, then I'll get ready to go. All right, just open up my chat box to see if you guys have any questions as we go. All right, now this is ready for the next question. So while it's chewing on that one, I'm going to go back and copy the answer from the first one. Copy. Oops. Okay, so we're doing the chestnut. So new document. You'll see that I'm just organizing these all in the same folder. So this is the chestnut. Oops. So if you just hit Control V, you're going to paste it with rich text. So you really have to make the effort. Well, so Command Shift V on the Mac, Command Shift V is going to paste it without that formatting. And then I would prefer to have the summary at the top because that's really what I plan to use for the web page. So in here is the summary. We've got the North Georgia key tag and keyword phrase in there. I'm going to click, hold, and drag the summary part, and then I'm going to Command Shift V. When I learn my command keys, then this will go a little faster. I probably should mark this as the full article down here at the bottom. Let's see, where did it? Okay, so yeah, right after here, the porch. Okay, I lost my. Okay, so this is the summary, where the summary begins. I'm going to make that an H1. Key features, again, the subtitle is different. I think this Into the Woods is where the full article started, trading concrete and steel. So if I scroll back to the top, I can confirm. Let's see here. Into the Words, trading concrete and steel. So that's right. So this is the full article. And we may also want to put that on the web page. This has been published, back in 2016. So it's a little dated. So I doubt if it even exists online. And that would be the only reason not to put the full article on there. If it's been published recently, then you may not want to compete with the exact same content. All right. So there's another one done. Again, not too crazy about, I'm not going to take the time to format this because I can come in and just, triple click on the content and copy and paste it into the web page later. So here's another one that's done. All right, so let's time ourselves and see how quickly we can do the next one. Okay, so I'm going to start a new chat. Okay, skipping down to the dragonfly, drag and drop. So I'm on the Mac. I'm using Command Tab to jump between applications. If you're on a PC, you're going to use Control Tab. So you got to use your pinky. It's a little weird. So, all right. So there's the transcription coming in. So I'm going to paste my next command and tell it to go. And then while it's doing that one, I'm going to come back and copy the article. So copy back to my drive. This is Dragonfly. Oh, I did it again. Command Shift V, paste without formatting. Okay, so let's make sure we label this the full article. Might be good to put it in the front, or better than what we did last time. Give that a space. So now we want the summary. Right click, and then we're going to Command Shift V. Oops. Okay, so I don't want it to be all. There we go. Don't want it all to be a heading one. Okay, there we go. Perfect. And then Command W will close that one out. All right, that was pretty quick. So now you can see that we're just kind of, once we have a flow set up, we're just kind of, cruising through these. I have my prompts that I know that work, and I'm using the same prompts every time. And I can copy and paste pretty much everything that I'm doing. So again, this is really, 101. Okay, so it looks like I just got an error on this one. So I'm either moving too fast, or the machine just can't keep up. Falling waters, or maybe the article didn't load. Okay, well, I saw the little spin, so it should be loaded. But I may have just tapped it out. This could have been an internet connection problem. Could have been the Gemini just, lost focus. I don't know. Okay, but now it's working. All right, so now I'm going to paste my next prompt in. So as it was finishing that one, I'm going to tell it to do the next thing. And I'm just going to copy all of this. Copy. Okay, so this one is an hour away. Falling Waters is what it's labeled. So just naming them with the same names. So one of the challenges we have when we're making web pages is just trying to make the pages consistent. Wow, I got no formatting whatsoever on that one. So not sure what happened there. Copy. Wow, didn't even give me paragraphs. That's a little unusual. So we'll just have to deal with that later. But you saw me. I've done everything exactly the way I did it before. So I just got a different result. All right. So there's our full article. And, I don't know if that spreadsheet there would have messed us up or not. All right. The gateway, home details. And again, our subtitles are a little bit different. So we'll have to format these things to be consistent. Okay. There's another one done. Okay, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so, all right. Just checking to make sure it is an article we want. Okay, Alt tab, let's get our commands. Now, I guess the next step after this would be to automate this whole process, which would be kind of interesting. It looks like I got another failure, so I'm going to drag and drop. I think maybe when I'm toggling between applications, I'm leaving the browser window, then Gemini seems to forget what it's doing. So, okay, so it worked this time. I'm going to paste my next command in. Wait till it's ready. This article looks like it has a lot of content. All right, then I'm going to do the next command. So I'm going to copy all of this. All right. This is, okay, this was the HH retreat. Yes, okay. Just making sure I'm labeling these correctly. That would be the human error part in all this. Command Option 1. All right, so let's grab our summary. All right, well, hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. Again, as I'm still just kind of copy and pasting my way through these articles, really want you to get some of the basic prompting down with using your AI, seeing how it can be just very simply can be helpful, which is a great way to get started. And then as you get good with your prompting, you can get a little more sophisticated with what you're doing. I used to one of my favorite things I tell people is I have a very good skill. I'm an excellent copy and paster. But and so believe it or not, as you can see what we're doing, it's so easy to you put in extra characters that could crash a web page, or put in instructions or comments from the AI, or even for feedback from a customer things. So you got to keep all that information, you know, straightforward and clean. Okay, so I didn't put in. Let me get my summary, get that going. So there is a bit of a skill to doing this correctly, and then even spell checking could be an additional step. I just want to make sure. Okay, this is the Nantahala. Ah, this one is completely unformatted. So that will take us some time later. I could come back and maybe use a different AI on my page to reformat this content. But again, that's not really my focus right now. My focus is just to get these things processed. I don't know how I just did that, but I just made that the title, the title of the header. I just put it in the header somehow. There we go. All right, so let's get that summary. Cool thing about the Google Docs is I don't even have to save them. They're already saved, so I can literally just close the page and it should be saved. Chestnut. Oh, I see here. This is capitalized and that's not. Otherwise, I should see red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. And then don't forget you gotta refresh your drive. So there's our Nantahala. Okay. All right, we're going on to our next one. The price. Looks like we only got a couple more through, so you can hang with me. We'll get these last 3 done. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can grab this without it failing. right, so this is the price. All right. So I don't know if you noticed, but I try to put a full return or space after that when I apply the heading. It's a habit that I developed when I was doing websites. If you There's a difference between a hard return and a soft return. So on web pages, if you do a hard return, which is just pressing the return button, then you will get a double space by default. So by default, web pages HTML is double spaced. And if you want it single spaced, then you got to do a soft return, which is you got to hold the shift key and press return. So another one of those little formatting tricks. So I'm going to copy that, paste without formatting. Okay. So this didn't even have a kind of a summary at the top. Okay, so again, the format was a little bit different. Okay, and that one is done. Wild turkey. Okay, this is wild turkey. Okay, yeah, paste it in a web page format. Got to do without the format. Also, this is interesting. Even without the format, it put those little icons in there, and those will crash my web page. All right. It's a little dirty, but actually it's actually not that dirty. It's actually very clean because there's no other formatting in here except for these little icons. So if I could tell it to automatically remove those or not to use those, if there was a preference I could set in Gemini, that would be helpful. They don't have to worry about those little things in the future. Now I've got one more article that I'm going to do, but it's going to be for a blog post, and it's not actually for the portfolio project. But I'm going to go ahead and get it transcribed while we're here. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new chat for that one. There's just this little Q&A article. So again, it was a magazine article, but uh, Okay, it looks like I have two of them, so I'm just gonna remove one, and then I'm gonna grab this one. So this may be some good content for the FAQs, and then we can spread those out throughout the website where they're appropriate. Or we can just go ahead and make a blog article out of them. So all I really want to do is just transcribe them right now and have them ready to go, and then I can decide what I want to do with it later. So yeah, this was a lot of manual copying and pasting, and so again, it would be faster if I could set up a process or an automated process to be able to drop these. It'd be nice to just drop the PDF into the folder, and then it would process itself. The Mac does have an automator, so it would be really interesting if we could tie the automator in with something like Gemini, to be able to do things. So, hey, Apple, if you're listening, that would be a great feature. I do use automator sometimes when I'm processing images just to scale them down and make sure they're not too big. It makes no sense to put a 5 meg photo on the website. There's no reason or purpose for that at all. So when you do need to process your images, that might be another video that we can do. But certainly, if we could tie some of these uh, transcribing steps in with, you know, we could automate that with a little automator on the Mac. That would make things even easier to do. So maybe one day we'll be able to do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab this transcription copy, and it says transcription, so that's fine. All right, so new. All right, okay, there's. Just command option one. Okay, just not been using that quick key. Just got to learn that key to make things faster. All right, and then I think we tapped into a summary. Okay, so it summarized it, but that looks pretty long for a summary. Well, somehow I've gone into zoom in mode. Wow. Okay. I just want to get this pasted all is all I want to do, but I don't want it all to be a heading one. Okay. So it says summary right there. So that's all I want to do. I'm not going to waste time trying to figure out how I zoomed in or whatever. I'm just going to mark that. And then I do want to title the document. So I'm going to hit return, copy, tab, and change the title of this. Make sure that this name matches the PDF. Okay, so I'm just going to close it, and I don't have to worry about trying to fix whatever it was. So now I've got all of these transcribed. I've got lots of content for our website to build, for the custom home builder. So that's there's a lot of little steps. I know this was kind of a long video, but there's a lot of important reasons to do those things. So let me switch back to the camera. All right, there we go. So a lot of key things. Again, it's so important if you to get published, to write that book, get it, publish that article in the magazine or the newspaper. Do those things. It's important to establish your authority, your leadership in a specific field. And then it's real important to come back and put that stuff onto your website to show that you've established that authority. So I think that's a good way of describing. So establish your leadership and then show that you've established the leadership in a particular industry. And then, so this is just a really good way to use your AI to get some of those very mundane tasks. So this has not even been, I don't think we've even been on for an hour, maybe a little over an hour, but that was super fast to get all of those articles done. So 50 minutes, I was able to process, lots of those articles. I'll go back over and just see how many there were. Let's see, let me count them right quick. Uh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we processed uh, 10 articles in less than an hour. And we have summaries and we have content ready to go. So what a great little work session this morning. Again, if you have questions, you can put them in the comments, subscribe to the channel. Hey, and if you are not on if you're a local business and you want to get connected with us, really just send me a comment in the links and I'll give you a link for the Slack to be able to join. And that's where you can really ask some questions and we can build the community there for local businesses. So thank you for watching and I will talk to you soon.